All right. Shalom, I came to start this lesson. I do want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Makakadash. Double honor to our apostles, elders of Great Mills, that taught us his truth and I grew well. Peace and blessing to the sincere God keeps us pushing his truth. And all truth and sincerity are on the four corners of the earth, diligently to us. Shalom. Okay, this is the brother Ariyah from the Great Millstone Miami camp. And I come back to the spirit power of Yahweh and try to make it a lesson. Okay, this lesson I'll be going into how Esau's kingdom is coming to an end. Alright, Esau, the so-called white man, who's ruling the earth right now, we understand that his kingdom is coming to an end. Alright, and we see that, man, okay? We see our house divided. Alright. We see, Democrats versus Republicans constantly in disagreements, not on the same page. All right, the people hate the ruler. All right, and we seeing, the mirth of America and the strength of America is failing. Seeing how this was once one of the greatest kingdoms to rule. Okay, and we see that through history and in time of how America had its rulership. Okay, and there was a point in time where America was one of the global superpowers, and which it is now, but it's starting to weaken. Okay, and what is the number one thing that's showing its weakness is that war in Iran. All right, seeing how much this devil done said that he done won the war, he done lost the war, he done won the war, won and lost the war. Okay, they done said that. He done said that he done won the war pretty sure more than 5 times already, man. But then again, he's constantly over there fighting. All right, and now you have the sailors and the people that's on these ships complaining about their health, their health and their hygiene. Okay, now you have sailors wanting to jump ship because of the malnourishment that they're getting treated. Because you got to understand, these ships run off of nuclear power. Okay, so when it comes to it running, it can run forever. All right, but you got to understand what a ship needs to operate. Yes, you can run the ship for whatever, but the people aboard that ship need food, man. All right, they need food, they need hygiene. Okay, they need all these things to survive. They only have a certain amount of a certain amount of food to go around, a certain amount of toiletries to go around, man. So now, okay, in reality, when you at sea for longer than usual, and you're not resupplying, because you have to see how, Iran is really making it hard for making it hard for America to advance. All right, and what picture that made me think of? Let the weak say I'm strong. Right, because you understand that Iran has been watching America for a long time now. Okay, they've been training, they've been waiting for this moment. All right, because they done train in their terrain. That's why America have not really did a land invasion yet, because they understand how gruesome of a loss that would be because of the mountains in Iran. All right, but that's also me showing you how weak this place is getting, and then we have to understand. Okay, when we think of the statue in Daniel, all right, and when we look at the part of statue that we are, which are the feet. Okay, that iron mixed with clay. Okay, that symbolizes the revived Roman Empire, and that's what we living in today. Okay, and then when the scriptures in Daniel think about that stone, okay, that's cut out without hands, roughly paraphrasing, that is aimed, okay, and it's aimed at the bottom of the statue, showing you the end of this kingdom. All right, all the kingdoms done ruled already: the Assyrian, the Babylonian, okay, the Persians, the Medes, the Greeks, the Romans, and now the revived Roman Empire. Okay, which is America, Babylon the Great. Okay, but that's just showing you how we are living in the end of this devil's rulership, and it's rightfully so, because Lord coming back to destroy this devil. Scripture say that the saints shall take the kingdom. All right, you know, and Yahweh tries to come in and take the kingdom. He's not just coming to try to negotiate with the devil. He's coming to take the kingdom. Okay, he's coming to take what's rightfully his. All right, but you know, before that happens, you know, Lord's going to crumble this place from the, you know, from the inside out. And you've seen that, man. We are seeing that, you know, scriptures speak about a house divided against itself shall not stand. All right, and we are seeing that house being divided now. Okay, this house is being, you know, divided. People are against itself. People are against the president. All right, and people are really, you know, against the military too, because they understand what the military was used for, man. It's not used for your freedom like you say you think it is. Okay, it is used for the objective of the elites. All right, and Amalek to hoard goods. Okay, oil, gold, silver, all these valuable, you know, things, man. That's what that's why the military goes into these foreign countries, man. All right, to steal their goods. All right, but you know, we are watching the downfall of America, man. The scriptures speak about how Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Are we not at the end of the world? All right, and you can ask anybody right now, man, are you at the end of the world? And they are going to tell you yes. Okay, we are at the end of this devil's, you know, rulership, man. All right, and that's rightfully so, because guess why? And we waiting on Yahweh to come back. All right, you know, we are on Yahweh to come back to, you know, to really rule the earth, really take the devil out of power, because that's what we waiting on. Okay, showing you how we at the end, because guess what the people are doing? Mourning, man. Scriptures say that, you know, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Okay, are we not in a state of mourning? Okay, even come from the prophets, man. All right, you know, the prophets mourning, you know, Yahweh Shimon Shai. All right, you know, the people are even mourning, complaining about inflation. All right, inflation, and you know, and the way of living has changed. Food is getting, you know, extremely expensive. That's not the way to live, man. Continual poisoning. All right, that's, you know, we are watching the fall of a kingdom, man. These other nations that are, you know, is looking at Babylon, you know, and looking at the downfall of this place, man. Okay, they're not looking at this place as a, you know, somewhere to be, you know, continual. We are at the end of the rulership of America, man. And as men of the Lord, you know, we see that. That's why we're on the highways and byways prophesying, okay, the downfall of this place, because we see the end. All right, you know, we see the end of this place. We don't see, all right, scriptures say that, okay, we don't see no continuing city. Okay, and, you know, I'm roughly paraphrasing it. I believe it goes on the lines of, for here, you know, we have no continuing city. All right, but, you know, roughly paraphrase, you know, and we putting our trust in Yahweh Shimon Shai, man. Okay, scriptures talk about, lay your treasures up in heaven, okay, where moth or rust or thieves do not break through and steal. Okay, so we got to lay our minds on the kingdom, man. Not trying to put all our might in this place, knowing it's about to be destroyed, knowing that we at the end of this place. All right, and this is not rocket science too, man. You can literally ask anybody, are we at the end of the world? And they are going to tell you yes. Okay, so that should tell you something, man. Okay, but hey, low and less hit edifying. Okay, with that, I do want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakakadash. Devil want to start Paul, sister and elder great milk from the taught us his truth and that rule well. Peace and blessing to the sincere arguments. With that, I do want to say shalom.